Hello everybody, it's TechStack here. Gonna go ahead and get started. Get some different music going. Uh-oh, my PC gonna do it again? No! What is going on? Like it's responding, right? I can change songs. I can alt-tab between windows. But I can't click on anything. It's like my mouse is dead. Let me unplug it. But I can move the mouse cursor around. And it was fine when the PC first started. Something is funky. And like right there, it responded to a mouse click kind of on my other window. So if I do Alt Space M, I can move this over like so. I can't click on anything though. But I can move my mouse. And if I Alt Tab back to it again, I can move through it with the keyboard. Huh? And I just rebooted my PC too, so... Hey, you don't need to run. Come on. Doubt it's Discord. If it's Discord, we'll just kill it. Go services. See, like I can do everything by keyboard. It's fine. Stop synergy. Still can't click. Anti-malware tablet service? Tablet service, maybe. Nope. I already killed Razer earlier. Kill it again. Also can kill Stream Deck if I have to. Come on, I just need a mouse that works. Hang on a sec. Come on. Plug in. Oh. Maybe that's what's wrong. That's probably what's wrong. Could be. Oh. Ha ha! This little bad boy was shoved up under a monitor and the button was depressed. Please let that be it. Yeah, it looks like it is. Okay, cool. So, back to doing what we're trying to do here. Let's show some things off. Start to stream off with that. Sorry about the technical difficulties. So I'm gonna run the game here. It's gonna run funny. Never mind. I need to restart it. So, my little hack I do to tell it, hey, start my main menu scene instead of this specific scene. You need to run that every time you launch Unity for the first time. Otherwise, it plays the current scene because Unity hasn't been told, hey, don't play the current scene. It is working, right? Yeah, okay. Let's do Task Manager. Yeah, I say I couldn't even do Task Manager before. Unity's just having a fit right now. But why? Barely using my CPU. Just not responding, period. Okay, let's kill Unity so we can get going. I'm not gonna wait around all day for this. We don't got much time. Stupid mouse getting stuck. That's what was wrong with it earlier today too. I bet. Okay, so over here we say set main menu, hit play. There very well could be something wrong with the scene I was working on. So let me talk while this is doing this. This guy is here because I'm working on creating a enemy. Alright, so I want this thing to start feeling like a game as I'm building out the levels so I can test those levels. And I think the way to do that is to have some gameplay mechanics in it, right? Unity, please play. Like, there we go. Okay, so start this scene. Good grief. What is taking so long? It's just switching scenes. My hard disk full? Maybe from thousands of images? So what I did was I added a chest. You go past it, it doesn't do anything. Looks like I need to add a collision box to it because I forgot to do that. But if I hit E while standing right in front of it, not too far away, right? It opens up. So we've got that working. I know it should like give you an item or something, but I don't have those in the game yet, so I just went ahead and did this piece of it. And then I started working on this guy. So I set him up so that he looks this way, right? And I'm thinking this will be one of the enemies in the desert area, right? But I wasn't done with him. So if we go down and look at his... Probably should get some shoes on this guy, right? Perhaps. So this would be equipment left leg, so I'm assuming it's going to be this one. Nope. There we go. And then the same for the right. Maybe we should do these reddish ones instead. There we go. Gave him some sandals because he's in the desert, right? Okay. And then let me grab him on his down animation. Do the animation window. Dock that. And swing. I have equipped him with a mace. So that's what he will use against us. Let's actually take one look at that though, now that I think about it. His weapon swing. It's that one. That's a mace as well. It's not a very good mace though without the spikes on it. We'll leave it at that. Out of curiosity though, what's it look like when he has the axe? Weapon down swing. It's probably more for the forest area, right? Lumberjacks can't attack you. Let's give him the mace. Okay. Skip some songs here, get some different stuff going. I don't know, what's something we haven't listened to forever? I need to like organize my music too somehow. Got 5.5 hours. Sure. Okay, so then I need to hit this update scripts, which will go through all the other sprites and update them for the different directions. What do we got for AI? Add component. Don't think we've said a lot. Base AI, melee AI, but they're pretty hokey. So that automatically adds the rigid body, which we do need. Didn't add a collider. Probably need a collider. Gravity scale 0. He is dynamic, but we don't want him to fall. His current direction is down. It's 0.1 and 0.2. Oh, that's for his navigation points. His current point is 0. And his swing distance is 2, and he's going to swing for player. Alright, so let's look at the melee code. See what we can do about it. Don't just collapse you. Open. Open, please. If it opens twice. It's opening on my other window. It is starting. Okay. Layer mask. Make sure I was right on that. We're doing the box cast and we're looking for layer mask. So that'll be what he tries to hit with his box cast that he's doing. He's going to say we hit a thing, trigger his attack. Right, this is checking to see if we should try and attack something. And then setting his speed to 0. His attacking equals true, and otherwise he says his attacking equals false. But that would be only for 1 frame wide, assuming he's no longer going to do that, but Okay, so the rest of this is saying if the current direction... Where is the actual movement detection code? Oh, right, so it's an update, or in base AI. Here we go. Because this relies on base AI. So base AI's got start, where it's looking up all these different pieces. It's attacking, movement allowed equals true. So he's not attacking, or he is attacking, or movement is not allowed. He's going to set the velocity to 0, basically. AI update start, which was this. Okay. We're calculating what horizontal and vertical velocities should be, and those are set by get destination, and if the destination X is greater than that, okay, so we're not doing any pathfinding yet. We'll need to probably eventually do that. I need to read up on that some more again. It's been a while since I built my own, and I don't believe that Unity's nav mesh agents work in 2D. Let's see, navigation, I think so, it's under AI navigation. Agents, objects, areas, bake. Been a while. No, we need a different component in the world. Nav mesh agent, nav mesh obstacle. Right. Like a mesh render or a train for this scene. We don't have a mesh because it's not based on 3D space. Yeah. I don't think it'll work. I think we gotta build our own. Let's take him. Why is he not showing up in the hierarchy now? Oh. Let's take him, put him in a prefab. Let's create this as an original. Okay, let's delete this.
Won't you come closer, baby? Stay with me tonight. So won't you come closer? You know it's alright. Won't you come closer, baby? Yeah. Stay with me tonight.
Pug?
Hello? Hey, yeah. It's picking me up in Discord. Check, check. Hey, there we go. Awesome. Can you hear me now? So what I was saying was... 5x5, cool. What I was saying was that I need to rewrite my AI stuff, or not my AI, but the attackable and damageable portions of my code. They were originally set up as a prototype to make sure that I can get animations working and things like that. I wasn't focused on the reusability or the gameplay mechanics that I need to put in here. So I'm still very early in the development of this. So I think I need to, off camera, plan that stuff out. So instead, what we should do is set up some other objects that I know we're going to need in the world that I can work on now without a lot of advanced planning, right? So let's do that instead. We've got the basics of this guy set up, his animations are working and all that, but I need to make it reusable quickly. Because if I want to have a lot of AI or a lot of enemies in this, right, I don't want to have to spend an hour's worth of stream time to set up each one. You know, I'd rather have one big class that uses inheritance to set a lot of this up for me. So, what do we need to do? I know what we need to do. I wanted to also set up the buttons that will go into dungeons. Which are these, right? So let's focus on getting those set up as new prefabs. So I'm going to come down to my dev scene here. Create an empty and a button. Right? And this button is going to have a sprite render on it so we can see a thing. And said button is going to do what? Have an image defaulting to up. There we go. Reset its transform. It's going to have a collider. It's a box 2D collider. And it is going to be a trigger type. So we know when the player touches this thing. And by the way, Neurocraft, because my mic wasn't working and you listened this whole time, or stayed this whole time, thank you. And thank you for the follow was what I was saying when you followed. And I asked how your day was, but you couldn't hear any of that. Okay, so there we go. We're gonna need a class on this, right? Or a script. Let's call it button, floor button. And the floor button is not going to take any... What's the word I'm looking for? You don't... So in my game, when you get near an object that's interactable, you push E and it will interact. This button, however, I think needs to be toggleable just by walking over it. And I think I'm going to set it up in such a way where this same button can be reused in a way... how do I say this? In a way that allows us to... You think back to like Zelda as an example. There's buttons that you can just walk over, they toggle to press down and stay down. But then there's also buttons where you walk over them, they go down, and then you walk off of them, and they go back up. And you have to push something over top of it to keep it down, to persist the state, right? So I want to set it up so it's like that, right? So we need to start changing our logic here a bit. I've mainly just grabbed that code from the other one for these two names, because I can never remember the name of those. Some of this other stuff we will need, but I want to change all the names on it. So is rest equals false. Is the player in range? Don't care about that. Open sprite we'll need, so we'll need an on and off state basically, right? So sprite pressed. We'll need a sprite unpressed. So we don't need the closed one. That's just an extra one because I had an extra. Took 3 sprites. The open state for a chest has 2. The top we don't need. Again, that was just for the top part. A sprite render for the top don't need. The sprite render we do need. So we can get rid of this line. We can get rid of that. We don't need any of this in update. Okay. And then really when the trigger is entered by a player, we're going to say pressed. Or the pressed equals true, or when he exits, it's going to say pressed equals false. But this is where we're going to differ, right? Sorry, I got an important message. Hold on a second, something's going on with my kid's school. Awesome. So do you know how to program already, or are you just interested in learning? Because we get people that do both in here, right? It's people that already know and then people that want to learn. Okay, I'll need to send a message to my wife later about that. So let's see. So is pressed, and then we're gonna need to say another variable that we're gonna serialize, which makes it show up in the Unity inspector. That's why I'm saying serialize private bool persistent. Persist state equals true, which means to me, which means once you press this button, it will stay pressed. So if persist state, if not persist state, so if it doesn't persist its state, then it's going to change. Never programmed a video game. Cool. Well, I think Unity is one of the easier ones to work with. If you've never programmed at all, learning C# is, or learning general programming concepts is best, right? So you know what an if statement does and things like that. Otherwise, you'll be struggling with that stuff. But once you get those basics down, it's pretty good, pretty easy. So this is open, so we need a push. Push. Really, that's all we need to do is just call push up here. And then push, say, is pressed equals true. And set pushed. Guess we can call it pressed, huh? Press. I'm gonna say set press. Oops. Set pressed. There we go. So open sprite. So we want to set that to set sprite pressed. Sprite unpressed. So all I'm doing here is setting the picture basically that's shown when I walk over the thing. This isn't needed. And we'll do this down in set unpressed and just call set unpressed. That should take care of it. So I get all my things in the right spot here. I'll press. Change the name of it. Well, it doesn't like the name? Variables captured this. This function press is declared but never used. I just used it. What am I got going on? Somebody's or something's not set right here somewhere up above. Expected a bracket. There we go. That's what's wrong. Missed the bracket in there. Now y'all good? Looks like it. Let's come back over here. Unity's going to compile that piece of code I just wrote. You can see that down in the bottom right hand corner of the screen. There's a brief little circle that appears. And then we get these variables that show up. So anything we marked as serialized for variables or anything that is public would show up over here. So we're currently saying is pressed is false because it's not checked, and persist state is true. And it's asking for what's our sprite pressed and sprite unpressed that we want to use. So I'm going to go back over here to my tile maps and drag those two pictures in. So our pressed state, or our unpressed state, is going to be that one, and our pressed state is going to be this one. We can save, and I can drag this down to my prefabs folder. Let's go to prefabs, interactions, and grab the button and pull it down here. Now we've got a button that if I go to my main game scene for the overworld, let's go ahead and save, and grab our prefab we just made. F. Grab this, pull this right here, and let me check one more thing. I did say trigger, yeah. Okay. So let's go ahead and run this. Another piece that we're gonna want to do at some point is, add sounds to the game. Don't have any sounds to put on there, so let's walk over it. You can see it pushed it down. As soon as we walked off, it pushed it back up. I think we had something backwards because I wanted that to be persist. Persist state equals true. Oh, so we need to do this. We didn't keep that inside the brackets just because it was going to run it every time regardless of the persist state value. So let's run this again once it compiles. Compiling down the corner there. Okay. Now it's staying down when we go over it. So we've got a button. Now obviously the button needs to do something, right? So we don't have anything like a trap or door to trigger yet, but we need to add that at some point. So I'm going to add this debug statement back in here. Add button pressed action calling code here. And what I'll probably do is create like a Unity action, I think it is, and then we can trigger it from there. In fact, let's just give it a quick try. It's been a while since I've done those, so I might get this wrong on the first try. Action? No. Sorry. Using Unity engine dot actions, no, dot event, and then action, Unity action. We'll just call it rest action, and not said private like an idiot. Let's make it public, or just make it serializable. Serialized field. And once it compiles, we should get another option on here, I believe, and we did not. Make sure I got the right one. Private, Unity, action. Yeah, I thought that was all there was to it. Huh. Let's, gosh, what code example would I have done this in? It was a game I was working on. Would have been under code, Unity. What would I have called it though? Notepad++, please. No. It would have been like a switch or a lever or something. Button activate. There we go. That's probably it. So it was the Unity events. Event trigger, custom callback. Still uses the Unity system though. Okay. Using Unity engine dot event system. Now when you compile it, do you give me it? Please? Haha! Yes! So this is something that I don't see used very often in other programmers doing streams and things, and I don't know why. Because to me, this is super powerful, right? So I'm going to say, let me take a look at my chest code, make sure it's going to work first. Chest interactions. Public, okay. So I can do this, right? I can go plus, grab an object from the scene, my green chest here, and then call a specific function on that. So chest interactions open. Okay. And then my example here, custom callback. Where is this? Is this in start? On trigger enter? Okay. Boom. So those are the two things we need. And we'll put it into our code. So on our button, we will say under pressed, we're saying set pressed. We're doing the callback of that code basically. And instead of custom callback, we'll say pressed action dot invoke. We don't need this, because those were just junk from before. And that should do it. So let's let this compile. We'll run the game. We'll walk over that button, and in theory, it should open the chest. But the nice thing about this is, it makes this button object scriptable from the Unity environment. Perfect. And that means this same button could be used to open doors. It could be used to set off a trap. It could be used to move back a wall. Whatever we want. Because we don't have to write special code for it either. We just, on that object, when we set it in the environment or in the editor, we tell it we're going to interact with this door. And the method we're going to call on the door is open. And then it just does it. So that's a powerful way of doing it. I think we're good. Like, that was perfect for what I was going for. So why am I doing these, right? I'm doing these so that I can set up my dungeon at some point. Because I think that'll be a fun one to build. There's also these levers. Where are they? Oh, I thought I'd seen a lever. Maybe it's under update. New tiles. Nope. Seemed like this big old hand lever that you could throw. In our asset pack somewhere. Let's open it in Photoshop because apparently I'm blind as a bat. Ah, it's right there. Right there's the level and right there's the other one. So it should be next to the button and next to the right of the stairs. What? Oh, that's messed up. So, sprite editor. That's not a sprite. They're there, but they're not defined as this. You gotta be kidding me. I need to add a new one then. Oh, don't automatically slice. Safe, slice, smart. There should be a window down at the bottom that lets me to draw a new one. Why? Not in runtime. Oh, okay, there was. I just had to start drawing it. So it needs to be like there to there, I think. 128 to 128. I think the whole thing needs to go down an extra pixel. Let's just click on this one. 384. Yep. The Y values should be the same for both of them. There we go. And then these X values should be the same, and they are. Okay. So this will be our new one. We'll call it lever right. Makes case there. And then we'll draw another one here. And make it 128 by 128. And our Y value needs to be 0. And our X value needs to be 1152. And we'll name it lever left. Apply. That's really interesting that he didn't add those as sprites. Wonder why. So let's go back to our prefab area, or dev area, whatever. And let's just there's nothing else to this one, it's just that object. So I'm gonna create it from new. Create lever. I'm gonna add a component. Boy, we can almost exactly duplicate floor button. Almost. Let's add a component. Lever. Open lever. Let's say it requires a required component type of sprite render. We're gonna want that on our button too, just so it's always there. And we're gonna want those. There we go. Is switched. So I'm just changing the syntax of these so that it makes more sense, the wording of these. Sprite off, on. So in pressed, we're going to set it to on. And in unpressed, we're going to set it to off. So we'll set Just change the words of these. Off. Set pressed. No longer needs to be pressed. We need to be set on. Where else we get in there? Sprite on. Oh, case sensitive. There we go. And so we're gonna on. On. Lever. Which. Actually, we don't need to do that anymore because we've already got it added. Get rid of it here too. And in both of these, we should have a event that gets called when it's unpressed or unswitched or turned off. So in this one, it says action pressed. We're gonna set up another one's action unpressed. Or unpressed action, sorry. And what that'll do for us is like, you step on the switch, the door opens, and then when you come off the switch, if it's a non-persistent floor switch, the door closes again. Or you flip a lever and a walkway appears, and you flip a lever again and the walkway disappears. Those type of things. So it's all best action, so on action. And off action. There we go. On action. Off action. There we go. Anything good? Let Unity compile it. Grab our tile map for this one. Let's lock our inspector because I'm likely to click off of it. And our levers are where? Right here. So we get to pick which one's on, which one's off, right? Let's have the right one be off. Off. And on. And we need to add that sprite render. There we go. And let's set that to the off version, which I believe that's that one. Gonna reset the transform. Gonna add a collider. It needs to be trigger. I don't know if I can do this on 2 different lines or I have to do it on one. Required component type of box collider 2D. So it won't work without the box collider. Won't actually physically do anything. There we go. It is a trigger. So that's that one. That was that one. That's that one. We're gonna get rid of this out of this particular scene. It looks right. We're gonna go down to our prefabs. Gonna do this. I've got the prefab set up, and we just need to go into our other scene to test it out. Overworld. So interactions is where that needs to be stored. Let's go over here to our chest that we're testing with. and set up the lever now. And let's put this on whole numbers. This one is going to be different then. 0.5. Come on, 52.5, 73.5. We need to go back into this one and change its code slightly because I just remembered we don't want this to just switch as soon as you touch it, right? We want it to switch when you hit the button, the interact button on your keyboard. So we need to set this up similar to the chest then, which is the same. Basically, we're saying player is in range or not, right? Inside the actual trigger event. And then if they are in range and it's not open, then we open the chest, right? The chests are typically just one. You open it, you don't shut it again. At least that's how my chests are going to be. So we need to do something similar with player in range for the lever. I'm glad I separated this off into its own class then. Private bool, which is a boolean, yes, true or false, right? Player is in range. We're going to set that to false by default. Okay, and then in the trigger, we're not going to say on, we're going to say players in range equals true. When we exit the trigger, so when we step out of that little box that goes around us, we're going to set player in range to false, not true. Right, and then this on and off are going to go in a different method that Unity calls every frame. So private void update. And we're going to say if input get get. What am I doing wrong? Oh, capital I. Get button down. Yep. And we're going to say interact, I believe it is. What's the name of the button I created? Yep, interact. And players in range. We're going to do these things. And what are we going to do? We're going to say is switched. And that's basically saying is it on or off, right? We're setting is switched to true and is switched to false. So if it is switched, so it's on. Maybe I should change the name of that because that's confusing. Rename is on. I should name it everywhere. Yep. So if it's on, else we'll do this. It's on, we'll say off. Off action, it should just be off, right? Set off. Then on. Here we go. Let's go back to our scene. It's done compiling. This is my instance of this prefab, so this specific one in the world. And where is our... Here we are. So we're going to set up actions on these. What is the action we're going to do? Let's use the chest again, I think. We'll say chest interaction, or we're going to open. And let's just duplicate the chest. Let's put the red chest in. Oop. On the red chest will be our other action we're going to do. So where's red chest? Say box interaction, open. Let's play it, see if it works. All start. Okay, so it did it on inner. Let's take a look, see why. Oh. I didn't take that out. Let's try it again. So when we flipped it the first time, it should open the one chest. When we flip it the second time back the starting position, it should open the other chest. If I did it right. And the chest both work. So I'm near it, it's not flipping. I hit E again, and it's not flipping back. Let's see why. So we are at this point. We're not saying player in range when we go on, so okay. Set off if persist state. Well, with the switch, we probably don't want to persist state. With this switch, we definitely don't. With this version of it. So let's uncheck persist state. So basically, it kept it on and never turned it off. There we go. We toggle back and forth as much as we want. It's trying to open the chest again, but it only opens them once. That's what we want. I think the only modification to this code I'm going to do is persist state equals true. I'm going to set that to false by default so that I don't forget later to set that box. We got working buttons, we got working switches, we got 2 working chests. Let's see if there's another color of the button in the images that we have. There's a green button there. Check this last one out. Red buttons. Let's grab a red button then. So that's cool. So I don't think I'm going to normally open chests with buttons, but we have an option to, obviously just from the color linking, but maybe there'll be some puzzle where you have to push the red ones and the green ones in the right order. Or the green one sets off a trap and the red one just opens the door to the next room. That type of thing. So I'm going to take my button. First off, I'm going to rename it green. With a N at the end of it. There we go. I'm going to create a prefab variant. And all this prefab variant is going to do different is be red. Because all the rest of the logic is going to go into the actual setup within the level. So we're going to drag in the red button state for the up there, the red button state for the pressed, and the red button state again for the unpressed. Boom, done. We've got a red version of it now. So if we go to our prefabs, interactions, and drag a red button out, and it's still going to have these actions on here. Good to go. All this stuff will help make our level design easier in the future. Let's see if there's anything else quick that I can do. It's getting about the time that I need to stop for the evening. I didn't think there was any other interactable thing in this tile set. There's the doors. We'll need to get a key item to be able to get those working. I don't think we even have a key looking thing in the game yet. What else? I would like to eventually make pushable items, but I'm not quite ready for that coding yet. I need to think through how I'm going to be able to handle that. Because I would like it to code or to move in one direction at a time, not two. So left or right and up or down, and probably to the point where it's limited how far it can move. But that's hard to do. So I need to think through how the rigid body will handle the pushing, basically. And like for that we can use, I don't know, something that looks like that maybe. Or in this tile set that I'm trying to find, this one. There was something that looks like it should be a movable object, possibly, like this thing. With it being too tall, that's kind of a pain, right? It's not gonna fit visually within the spot that it's gonna go in, but it seems to be that that one and this object in here that I thought fit for doing something like that, like this thing. That's a single item, I guess. But this one, down here in the bottom left, looks like something that should be pushed, right? I'm not sure what the difference between this and this is. They seem to be the same item, but it's like almost like one's depressed. How would you get it to be depressed? And this look a lot alike. Like he was thinking this would be the lit version of this, but it doesn't visually make sense to me. That's raised up on the top. I don't know. I might need to edit this myself to take the fire effect off of that, and then you can light them to do things. Another puzzle. Okay, let's take a look at this as well. Make sure there's nothing in here. No, just more doors, and that's great. There's more doors, but it's just ladders too. That's cool. I didn't really like how steep some of them ladders were in the other one. Like these, they just looked funny as steps. Yep, I think that's gonna be all for me tonight. So let's find somebody we can raid. I believe Below the Stones streaming. Below the Stone Dev. Oh, come on. Slash raid Below the Stone Dev. Hey, he's streaming. So I'm gonna send you over there. Have a good evening. I stream around this same time frame every night, or try to. I'll catch you then. Bye.